Hi students, today we are doing lesson 2.1, which is graphing linear equations. And we're going to be graphing linear equations using a table of values. So 2.1 is graphing linear equations. These are the notes. And a linear equation is an equation whose graph is a line. The points on the line are then solutions to the equation. So you can use a graph to show the solutions of a linear equation, and the graph below is for the equation y equals x plus 1. So these are the values that get inputted. These are those x values. You plug them in, and then you get these y values out as points. And so you plot them as ordered pairs to go on this line right here, on this graph, to get your line. So our first example here, we have the graph of y is equal to negative 2x plus 1, and we want to make a table of values so that we can plot the ordered pairs and draw the line through them. You will be given your x values that you plug in. So for this problem, we are going to use negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, and 2. So go ahead and fill those in. And now what we want to do is we want to take these x values and plug them in for x in this equation. So our first example, we are going to take negative 2 times negative 2 plus 1. Because what we're doing is we're taking this equation, negative 2 times x, and our x value is negative 2, so I plugged that in right here, and then plus 1. So we know negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4, and 4 plus 1 is 5, so then we put a 5 here. So for the next one, we're going to do negative 2 times negative 1 plus 1. So we plugged in this x value for the x spot right here. We do our multiplication. Negative 2 times negative 1, which is positive 2, plus 1 is 3. So we put 3 here. So go ahead and do those for those last three, 0, 1, and 2. Here are your answers for those last three. We plugged in 0. Negative 2 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2, plus 1 is negative 1. Negative 2 times 2 is 4, negative 4, plus 1 is negative 3. Now, these are your ordered pairs, negative 2 and 5, because this is the x value and this is the y value, so x and y. So x and y. So I come over here to my graph and I start in that origin and I go to negative 2 up to positive 5 and I put a point there. And I keep going. This one is negative 1, 3. So start, go to negative 1 and then go up to positive 3 and put a point there. 0, 1. Start at 0, I go up to 1, there's my point. 1, negative 1, and 2, negative 3. So that was step 2, plot the ordered pairs. And there's the rest of your ordered pairs. And then step 3, draw a line through the points. So we're going to draw a line all the way through those points, and we're going to have arrows on the ends of the line. And that's how you do example number 1. Next, we have graphing horizontal and vertical lines. So it says the graph of y equals b is going to be a horizontal line passing through the point 0b. So y equals any number will give you a straight side-to-side line like this. The graph of x equals a is a vertical line passing through a0, so it would be a straight up and down line just like that. The way that I remember this, if you look at example number 2, we want to graph y equals negative 3. And so how I remember doing this is I want to make a point, or I want to figure out where is y negative 3. So some of you hopefully are remembering that this is the y-axis. And so you would come down here, and right here is where y is negative 3. Well, then you can think, where is another y value of negative 3? Well, this has a y value of negative 3, and this has a y value of negative 3. All the points on that horizontal line there have a y value that go down to -3. So therefore, that's why we get a horizontal line going side to side when it's y equals a number. I think of the same thing or something similar when x equals 2. So I like to think about, okay, here's my x-axis. My x value of 2 is right here. So I'm going to put a point there. And now think of another point that has an x value of 2. Doesn't matter what the y value is, but anywhere along there has an x value of 2. So when it's x equals, you get a vertical line right through x equals 2. So this next one, here are the points we are going to use. We're going to use -4, -2, 0, 2, and 4. Okay, again, those will be given to you on your homework, on your tests, on your quizzes. Those x values will be given to you, so you don't have to worry about choosing them. So go ahead, pause the video, try doing this. You're plugging in here and going to do 1/2 times that x value and then add 2 to get your y value. Go ahead, pause, and try it out. So here are your answers. What we did is we took our equation, I replaced the x with parentheses and plugged in the x values that I gave you, and then I multiply. If you had to use a calculator, that's okay. 1/2 times -4 is -2, plus 2 would be 0. 1/2 times -2 plus 2 is 1. 1/2 times 0 plus 2 is 2. 1/2 times 2 plus 2 is 3. And 1/2 times 4 plus 2 is 4. So we want to then write down these ordered pairs. So the x value is -4 here, the y value is 0, because here's the x that corresponds with this y. So go ahead and write down all your xy points. So there are all your xy coordinate points, and now we can go ahead and graph them on our graph here. So I start at the middle, I'm going to go to -4, and then I don't have to go up or down at all, so I just put a point right there. -2, 1, I'm going to the left 2, and then I'm going up 1. Go ahead and keep doing that. Once you have all of them graphed, you draw a line that connects all of them, put arrows on the end, and that's it. Alright, so here's our last problem. It is a word problem. It's talking about the wind speed y for a tropical storm. It gives us this equation, y equals 2x plus 66. It says x is the number of hours after the storm enters the Gulf of Mexico. So we want to graph the equation. I've set up my table here. I picked these x values. Again, you will be given these x values on your homework, on your tests, and on your quizzes, so you don't have to decide. We can go ahead and now just plug them in to where those parentheses are, so that way I can then get my y values. So go ahead, plug them in for 1, 2, 3, and 4. So here are the rest of my values, the y values. I plugged in the x values to get these as my output values. Now I can write them as the xy ordered pair so that I can graph this. Alright, so you see that I have written the rest of the ordered pairs here. Remember, these come from the x values that correspond with these y values. I've also labeled my graph over here. Here's my x-axis, and I've just labeled it as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, because those are the x values. 0 is right there. And then my y values, I wanted to go up by 2s, but I didn't want to have to spend all this time going up by 2, 4, 6, 8, all the way up here. So I put this little break in the graph, and then I started at 64 and went up by 2s from there. So go ahead and pause the video so you can label your graph like this. And now we can go ahead and plot these. So 0, 66, I have a point right here. 168, I go to 1 and go up to 68. 270, right here. 372, and 474. I'm going to draw this line through here, and I'm going to draw just an arrow on the right side because it's just going that way. If you think about what this question was asking, you can't have negative numbers over here. So here's the graph, and it says, when does the storm become a hurricane? Well, if you read this information right here, a tropical storm becomes a hurricane when the wind speeds are at least 74 miles per hour. So we can see there that when it's at least 74 miles an hour, anything above here, so therefore at 4 hours, it becomes a tropical storm. And that is it for our 2.1 notes. You now have your homework that you can work on in class.